Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So Sundar Pichai's journey offers us an excellent insight as to how you can get rich by doing a job. Now most of us think that in order to get rich, you need to do businesses, that stuff. But no, you can actually get rich by doing a job. So on this video, I'm going to give you simple tips, strategies, decoding Mr. Sundar Pichai's journey, how he got rich, what are some of the lessons that we can take from him, apply it, change it a little bit, modify it and apply it in 2024. So I'm going to break it down in very simple, easy to understand words. I'll give you just 7-8 critical points. I will also bring in my journey of working as a management consultant, building startups, then being on YouTube, doing personal branding, etc., etc. So all these things I will combine and present it in actionable format. So very important video in case you are looking to get rich through a job. So I'll help you understand the entire math. But one of the key things that goes into getting rich is to attain leadership positions. So let me introduce you to Scalar School of Business. They offer an 18-month full-time management program which is designed to help you get into leadership positions. The program is taught by leaders who have built billion-dollar businesses. Since Scalar has been in existence for 7+ years, they have access to 1200+ company partners like Google, Bain Capital, Amazon, that very few business schools in India offer. Their online program has seen roughly 96% placement rate with a median CTC of 25 lakhs. Now this has been verified by a company called as B2K Analytics, which is the same company that does verification for IIM's placement reports as well. The founding cohort launches in August of 2024. So in case you are interested in applying for 100% scholarships, you can check out the links in the description and comment box. So okay, back to the main video. Now let me first decode very quickly what Mr. Sundar Pichai's journey is and what are 4-5 central things we can learn from him. So if you look at this chart, you will see that number one strategy in terms of Mr. Sundar Pichai's wealth building journey was to get really good education. So he went to IIT, he went to Stanford, then he eventually did his MBA and then he scaled up in his career. His second strategy was to work with gold standard firms. Now what is the meaning of gold standard? For example, he works at Google right now. So it is a gold standard, extremely good company, top of the line. Similarly, he worked at McKinsey as a management consultant. Again, that was gold standard. Third, he worked on critical initiatives. Now, what is the meaning of that? For example, he worked on launching Google Maps. Now, that's a critical initiative he took at Google, which kind of increased his visibility and probably helped him get faster promotions at Google. Fourth, now, again, going back to that WhatsApp university chart, कि भाई वो 300 crore बनाते हैं and all that stuff. Maybe true, maybe not true, I don't know. It's highly variable. But now, most of his compensation actually comes from owning the stock of Google. So the fourth and final strategy that Mr. Pichai has used is very simple, that he actually owns equity in a business. So yes, he started his journey by doing a job, but eventually he ended up owning equity. अब आप बोलोगे you're trying to confuse us. On one side, you're saying that, okay, get rich through a job, but on the other side, you're talking about owning equity in a business. Well, by doing your job really well, you get to own equity. So I'll explain that subsequently on the video. But anyways, now let me give you a simpler framework and let me discuss 8-10 points as to how you can build wealth by doing a job. So in order to build wealth from a job, you first and foremost need to understand the math behind getting rich. So see, the math of getting rich is very, very simple and there are two formulas in a way that you need to remember. The first formula is that your salary growth should be greater than your segmental inflation. Now, what is the meaning of that? For example, आपने देखा होगा कि if you are, for example, a manager at a particular factory, and if that factory, let's say, for example, produces sugar. Now, वहाँ पे the salary increase typically of factory manager does not happen really fast. Now, why is that the case? Because the sugar industry होती है उसकी खुद की growth ही 2-3%, 4%, 5% maximum होती होगी. Then how can your salary grow by 10% or more? That becomes an issue. And in majority of the middle class case, for example, if you are sending your kid to a non-government school, then most likely the increase in fees will be like 10%. Your increase in rent is like more than 10%, etc., etc. So आपका segmental inflation तो at least 10 होता है. So first and foremost formula of getting rich through a job is to work in industries where your salary growth will at least be 10%. If it is not growing at 10%, then you possibly need to look at changing your industry. If you don't do this, then every year you are working your way towards poverty. The second key concept is that, okay, fine, you are making money, but at the same time you are increasing your lifestyle. Now this is a very common problem with youngsters these days कि उनकी salary बढ़ती है 10% से, but they increase their खर्चा by like 20%. So in real terms again they are working their way towards poverty. Now I'd done a LinkedIn post where I'd explained my own journey that when I started my career I used to work with a non-profit organization and my salary was like somewhere around 10 to 12,000 rupees and उसमें से भी मैं 2,500 रुपए बचा लेता था because I was living with my parents and I used to invest that money. Now this is not a push that you guys also go and invest and all that stuff, nothing of that sort. भाई आपने जो करना है करें, but the point is that inculcating that habit of saving is absolutely critical. अभी ये savings rate चल रहा है इंडिया में, it has fallen to the lowest ever levels in the last 15 years. Our household debt has increased at its highest level in the last 15 years. आप हालत देख लो. Now people who are not getting these points are going to get hit hard. So first and foremost you need to sort out both these equations. Irrespective of your salary, you have to figure out a way to save something. So this is literally step number 1, because आपकी salary कितनी भी हो सकती है 1 करोड़ रुपए महीना, but if you're not saving anything out of it, it does not really help. Okay, so point number 2 is that you should figure out a way to get a gold standard job. Now let me help you understand the tiers of jobs that exist. So one would be gold standard jobs. For example, these will be top end companies in certain growing industries. For example, if we pick tech, then Google, Meta, Amazon, these are top tier gold standard companies which have an excellent brand name. Now why am I calling these gold standard company? The reason is very simple, that if you have worked as a product manager at Google and if you are trying to, let's say, come and work with a startup, then finding employment is very easy. But on the flip side, if you have only worked in a startup, then finding work with Google or top tier companies might be tough. Now, I'm not saying that every time that will be the case, but I'm just trying to help you understand gold, silver and bronze standard jobs. So these are gold standards. Then you have silver standard jobs. Now, what are silver standard jobs? These would possibly be considered as good jobs, but not like high end. For example, top 3-4 management consulting firms, BCG, Bain, McKinsey, Dalberg, all these companies might be considered as gold standard. But if you go below that, then they might be considered as silver standard. Then finally comes bronze standard jobs. Now bronze standard jobs have a very significant feature कि वहाँ पे churn बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, right? People just come, get trained, very quickly leave. Okay, I would say, and I do not mean to hurt anyone's sentiments, but according to me, these would be companies like for example, let's say TCS. Now these are companies that primarily work on cost cutting. People just want to get a very quick brand, कि यार थोड़ा सा brand मिल जाए तो धीरे धीरे करके step by step we will keep going up, right? So this is not like Google kind of scenario कि Google में काम किया आपने, then you can pretty much hunt and work with a range of companies. If you work with TCS, then switching might be a little bit tough, right? But you can go step by step. Now, the good news is that whether you are working with gold standard, silver standard, bronze standard jobs, there is always a pathway to move to gold standard. So, okay, so what do I mean by that? So let me draw a graphic and show you. So for example, if you're working with a bronze standard firm, right, and the goal is to reach from here to here, right? So here it might take you like 2-3 switches to get to a gold standard job, right? But if you're working with a very good firm, right? कि for example आप मान लो एक tier 2 consulting firm के साथ काम करते हो, you want to move to tier 1. So that is an easier path because you just need to make one switch. So the key takeaway that I will give you is that irrespective of the job situation you are in, there is always a path for you. For example, you might have to make 4-5 switches maybe. Someone would need to make maybe only one switch, right? But there is a path for you and you should be focused on that path rather than just simply saying or cribbing about your job, etc., etc. The goal is to get to a gold standard company or at least get that brand stamped on your CV because it generates something called a signaling effect. Signaling effect का मतलब होता है कि once you get Google, McKinsey, BCG, Bain on your resume, it indicates to any future employer that, hey, you know what? You have been trained by a gold standard company and yeah, so they start trusting you a little bit more. So point number 3 is that you should cultivate something called as multi-dimensional skills. Now, if we just look at Mr. Sundar Pichai's career path, what has he been able to combine? Well, he has been able to combine a lot of things now, but आप उनकी degree से देख लो. So for example, he graduated from an IIT, so he had probably very good analytical skills. Then he did a MS. Then he finally did an MBA. So unka jo intersection of skills, this intersection is what is critical. Now this is something that he continued to do in his career also. For example, he first worked at McKinsey. So McKinsey से मिली उनको problem solving या analytical skills या फिर आप उसको बोल सकते हो structured communication skills, तो उसको problem solving skills बोल सकते हैं, right? Then he worked with Google as a product manager. So he probably learned how to execute things, right? I mean, this is like a mini CEO role, जो product manager का role होता है. You are responsible for a very small project within a large set of a company. So he must have executed that really well. So this is a combination of skill 1, 2. So this gives you like very, very hard skills. This gives you like practical skills. So you combine these 3, 4, 5 important skills depending on whichever industry you are in, and that leads to a combination of skills. People often come to me and ask me that, Akshat, you know what, I'm a CA student. What skill can I develop? Okay, you probably know a little bit more finance than the general janta. So what should you focus on? Probably structured communication. Learn how to do that, right? Learn a little bit more about tech. Learn how coders think. Learn about data security, etc., etc. So there are so many things. So it is always about building a combination of skills. So Mr. Sundar Pichai has also done it, and I've seen a lot of successful people do something very similar. कि उनके पास finance की skills भी होती हैं. They definitely know how to manage money. They are very good at managing money. They are very good at communication. They are very good at some core skill, and anytime they are focused on generating that combination of skills. I also run an investing course. So in case you guys are interested in learning more about macroeconomics, how to do investing properly, how to manage your own portfolio, do consider checking it out. It's a live course. It is taught over 4 weekends. It's very, very intense. So that intense learning is going to help you out a lot. Then we end up practicing whatever we have learned over a course of 1 year. So we are put on Wisdom Hatch community. You get regular updates from my side. So जो भी market में चल रहा था, you understand it. So I feel that that is a very good way of building investing skills. It's a very structured program. A lot of people have benefited. You can check out some of the testimonials, and in case you guys are interested, the seats are limited. Do definitely check it out. So okay, so with that said, that once you have developed a combination of skills, your focus should be to own equity somewhere. There is a reason why that people switch jobs from McKinsey to a startup or from Google to a startup. ऐसा क्यों कर रहे होते हैं वो, right? Startup में तो और मतलब बहुत high pressure job होता है वो. Why do people do it? Because they own something called as ESOPs. So that is very, very important bit. इसमें होता क्या है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप मान के चलो दैट यू हैव जॉइंड अ स्टार्टअप राइट एट वेरी अर्ली स्टेज, यू गेन सम equity. Now over time that startup becomes really big, right? And you end up IPOing, or the value of that startup grows, you do a secondary sale, whatnot. Then the value of this percentage of equity that you command, it grows really, really big. अभी recently news थी कि Nvidia का stock has become crazy in the last 1 odd year, and almost 75% of Nvidia employees are millionaires. आप ये double check कर लेना. This number looks a little bit unrealistic. You guys let me know that this is really true or not. But this is very interesting that a bunch of employees became millionaires because they were owning ESOPs. So the reason why many people go from gold standard jobs to building companies, etc., is that they get a chance to own equity. So if at any stage in your life you get a chance to own equity, that is very useful. इसके पीछे की मैं आपको मैथ बताता हूँ, right? So for example, let's say that you are doing a job and you are making, let's say, 5 lakh rupees a month, right? And you are at a senior position, all that stuff. Now इस salary पे there is no PE, जिसको PE multiple बोलते हैं मार्केट में, okay? But if you own let's say 5% of a particular company where you are working. Now on that company you will always see a PE multiple. Now what is the meaning of this PE multiple? जैसे आपने देखा होगा कि Nestle जो है वो almost 80-90 के PE पे ट्रेड करता है. HDFC Bank अभी it's trading at like 20 के PE पे. Some other stocks trade at like 50 के PE पे. What is this 50, 20, 10? Well, it is called as valuation multiple. ये जो multiple आता है that happens on owning equity. It does not come on your salary. So this is a very, very important insightful point that you should know. So then comes the 5th point, and there is a very good saying. I think it was Naval Ravikant, and I'm just paraphrasing it. So he basically said that it does not matter that much that how hard you are rowing. Right? If you're sitting in a boat, you're rowing it. But it matters more in which type of boat you are rowing. So ऐसा उन्होंने कुछ बोला था, I'm just paraphrasing it. In essence, what he's trying to convey is that, see, you need to be at the right time in the right industry. And this could not be further away from the truth. For example, जैसे सुंदर पिचाई की जर्नी पे जाएं, so probably he was able to capture the best phase when it came for Google. उस टाइम पे Google बन रही थी, tech evolve हो रहा था. That was probably the highest growth industry, right, in the last 2 odd decades. उसके टॉप पे हो आप, राइट, एंड यू वर एबल टू गो एंड ग्रो विद इन दैट इंडस्ट्री. सो दैट लेड टू अ लॉट ऑफ वेल्थ फॉर यू. नाउ वी आर ऑल इन्वेस्टर्स एंड हमें खुद समझ में आता है कि दैट इफ यू आर एबल टू कैच अ कपल ऑफ बुल रन्स, तो आपका पोर्टफोलियो कितना हो जाएगा? आपका पोर्टफोलियो विल ग्रो लाइक क्रेजी. यू कैन जनरेट जनरेशनल वेल्थ. आप ऐसे मान के चलो कि इन अ बुल रन की 100 रुपए 300 रुपए हो जाते हैं. सो दिस इज वन बुल रन. द सेकेंड बुल रन अगर आपका फिर से 3x हो गया तो 900 हो गए. तो आपका इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना हो गया? इट बिकेम 900. सो फ्रॉम 100 यू मेड लाइक 900. सो अगर आपने ठीक ठाक पैसा डाल दिया इन द फर्स्ट बुल रन एंड यू आर एबल टू कैप्चर 2 बुल रन्स, यू हैव जनरेटेड generational wealth. So something similar happens if you are able to get into the right set of industries. Now let me help you further refine this point. See, right now many kids start their careers in, let's say, back-end IT. Nothing wrong in it. It's hard-working job. You will learn a lot of stuff, but always figure out where the next layer of growth might happen. For example, right now it might be an artificial intelligence, machine learning, probably building data libraries or generative AI. So these type of things are trending. Please learn more about it. Web 3.0, it's not dead. It is still alive and thriving. Now this type of work might not be happening in India, so therefore a lot of people are not getting exposure. So figure out karo, you know what, where can I get an internship, right? Can I go to Dubai and get an internship, or can I, work with a startup in Europe? There are so many possibilities, options. Even if you get a little bit of exposure, it can just skyrocket your career like anything, and especially if you do this at an early age. So the fifth point being that you need to focus on being in the right industry, or at least figuring it out कि आपकी industry में where the highest growth areas are. So always be in those type of high growth industries. Then comes the next point, that if you are in a job, your salary increase will come by taking higher units of risk. And the only way you will be able to take higher units of risk is that if you have a fallback plan, if you have an additional source of income, if you are able to preserve your downside. Now this is something that I keep on saying. What are some simpler things that you can do? For example, I meet a lot of young professionals. They say, Akshat, you know what, I am an IT professional. I've been working in the IT space for the last 10-15 years. Maza nahi aa raha, I'm looking for switching my work. What should I do? Then I ask them that, okay, how much runway you have? How long do you have before you have to find a job? The question आता है कि यार I don't have a okay size portfolio also. थोड़ी बहुत savings है, maybe like 5, 6, 7 months. बाकी तो I kept on traveling, I kept on spending money. See, then okay, fine, you enjoyed the life, but now you have put yourself in a situation where you are dependent on your job. So at least that situation should not be there. These days there are so many options in terms of building your income streams. For example, आप investing के बारे में सीखो. It's really important. If you have little bit of money, capital, then be an Airbnb owner also, or a short-term rental owner also. That becomes another layer of income stream. So इस तरीके की छोटी-छोटी income streams create करना are absolutely critical. Not because you are running after money, because it gives you a lot of freedom in order to do slightly riskier things in your career, and that is absolutely critical. If you are not doing that, then you're not exploring those high alpha opportunities. So now a lot of people will say, Akshat, you know what, our organization does not allow us to do parallel work and generate parallel income. For example, मैं director नहीं बन सकता in any private limited company, or my company will call it moonlighting, this that stuff. That's a legitimate concern. So what is it that you can do? So we go to point number 7 कि भाई आप personal branding तो कर सकते हो. आपके CEO लिख रहे हैं on LinkedIn, आपके CEO लिख रहे हैं on Twitter. You guys start writing a little bit of stuff about the industry you are active in. Start sharing useful information about that industry. Now यहाँ पे counter argument आता है, see my colleagues do not like it. वो मेरा मजाक उड़ाएंगे कि यार मैंने क्या लिख दिया लिंक्डइन पे, ज्यादा हीरो बन रहा है, ज्यादा ज्ञानी बन रहा है and all that. See guys, in India people have a disease of crab mentality. If they see anyone growing, they will pull their leg down. Okay, that is how it is. It's unfortunate, but that is where we are. Forget about those people. They will not give you 100 rupees if you are in some kind of financial stress. Okay, so stop bothering about them, right? All you need to figure out is that how you need to grow truthfully and honestly by doing hard work. As long as you're doing it, you don't need to hear about everyone's opinion. Now, building a personal brand is not something that a company will stop you from. They cannot say that, do not talk on LinkedIn, or it's illegal to write on LinkedIn, or it's illegal to write on Twitter. वो तो आप बना ही रहे हो ना. At least have that going for you. So there is nothing wrong in terms of doing that. It does not require crazy amount of time. Writing one LinkedIn post a day or one Twitter post a day does not take you years, right? It probably takes you, when you start, maybe it will take you 1.5 hours. But as you progress, as you practice more, this time will come down and it would allow you to build a personal brand along the way. मजा आ रहा है तो करते रहना, नहीं आ रहा तो कोई बात नहीं. This experiment failed. Move on to the next thing. For example, you can write a small ebook which is helpful. You can do a bunch of different things to get that personal brand out. Then comes the last point, that see, like Sundar Pichai, you should also focus on opportunities where you can work abroad. Why? Because the primary advantage of working abroad is that it allows you to lower your taxes in majority of the part of the world, or it gets you better return on your taxes and at the same time increase your savings. For example, it is much better to work on a $150,000 salary in US and save at the end of the year maybe like $40,000, because that 40,000 is how much? It's around like 30-35 lakhs, versus getting a 1 crore salary in India, paying like 35-40% tax here, and at the end of the day saving only 10-15 lakhs, because that corpus that you will make of 40-45 lakhs which you are building, and if you get that cash in hand, so to say, then you can do a lot of things with it. For example, you can invest, you can grow it faster. एक साल में कितना हो जाता है? So please understand about this savings concept. If you apply these 7-8 key rules that I am telling you, you will be able to build better wealth. You will be on a faster track to financial freedom, and hopefully it will allow you to enjoy your life more. So that is the spirit with which I shot this video. If you enjoyed it, do press a like button and I will see you soon.